friend from France standing next to me. And you can recognize a pattern because he's going to tell you about a new corporate venturing initiative too. And yesterday we heard from E.ON and Evonik that they started corporate VC funds, and it's really cool to see so many important corporates to be part of the game and actively foster open innovation, smart green innovation. Bernard Scherrer, Head of Open Innovation of EDF.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be with you today. And EDF is sponsoring Ecosummit, so we are very happy to be present. And EDF, I will not present it long. I mean, it's a global company. We are the French electricity company, but we are also a part of the game in the UK, in Italy, in Poland, etc., etc. And we have R&D centers quite over the world, in the US, in China, in the UK, in Germany, and with IFER, which is one of the partners of the Karlsruhe Institute, and so on. And in 2012, at the beginning of 2012, our president, André Proglio, delivered a very strong message to go towards innovation and to innovate more. And as an R&D department, I am part of the R&D department of EDF. We were already very proud of what we were doing in terms of innovation, and we were saying, wow, we have to do more. Okay, so we are doing more. And 6 months ago, I was speaking to you of the team, the scouting team we have built up. So I am in charge of the scouting team with some guys in San Francisco, some in Beijing, and some in Paris, in Chatou, near Paris. Valerie Floridia is here. She's in charge of the networking in Europe. And so any startups that wants to contact EDF to make business development with EDF, get in contact with Valerie. That's the first point, the global scouting force to source startups and so. And we have developed an international network of venture capital partners. We are limited partners in Chrysalix, and we are limited partners in Think Capital. Chrysalix is a very technological Cleantech fund which is based in Vancouver. Very nice guys. We have very good exchange with them, sharing the deal flow and discussing about companies. And we have done the same type of relationship with Think Capital, which I would say is the most American of the Chinese fund, or the most Chinese of the American cultured fund in China. But they are 100% Chinese, with the many international limited partners. And now, what is new, we have developed a team and a partnership and launched a fund which is, in terms of legal, independent from EDF, but it's in our view, the first step toward going to corporate venture. And we say some words about what we are doing with launching some competitions or sponsoring some competitions between startups, which is a very good way to enter in a cooperative program with startups.
If someone were to ask me what the point of EDF research is, I'd tell them first, ask the right questions. How can we produce low-carbon energy that will be cleaner and safer? Given the size of the challenge, we clearly need to show some humility. Nuclear energy is a perfect example, because if ever there was a subject that called for humility. I like the idea that EDF is working to ensure that its plants are sustainable, having sustainable equipment where each component is analyzed in order to anticipate problems and improve safety, because a source of energy that isn't safe can't be sustainable. I like the idea that research at EDF is first and foremost giving us time to prepare the future and time to get on with developing other forms of energy. Marine energy, for example. Because for me, EDF is not just one type of energy, it's all energy. The key question is, how do we reconcile the energy needs of the planet with the goal of protecting the environment? I like the idea that people are working hard to ensure that, together, we can produce clean, rational, and accessible energy everywhere. Because the fact is, when we use electricity at home, we don't ask all these questions. We just want to make sure we haven't left everything switched on because we want to keep the bill down. What I want is for EDF to help me find the right relationship with energy, the right balance. Where does this energy come from? Am I making proper use of it? When do I need to reduce my consumption? I think all of us, whether individuals or businesses, aspire to consume better and to consume less as well. I also like the idea that EDF is working to reinvent my car so that my battery can be used to help me get around without polluting and, one day perhaps, even to light up my home. Predicting the vagaries of wind and sun and creating storage systems to deal with them. Developing smart grids that enable me to access these renewable energies and to generate electricity myself. I like the idea of sharing energy. Because our energy future remains largely to be invented, I like the idea of EDF research that listens to everyone's aspirations and attempts to ask questions without necessarily having all the answers. To ensure that everyone has the right source of energy at the right time.
So now what we are looking for, you know. And so I say some words about the Open Innovation team, so I will not say more. The objective we have when we enter in relationship with a startup is not disturbing. we know that we are elephants and that we have to know to work with mice. And the team is entering in contact, trying to understand what is the advantage and the specificity of the startup. And after we work together, we work inside EDF with the business lines to know which one will be interesting for them. And after we recontact the startup for more exchanges. And if we recontact the startup for having an exchange directly with the business lines, it's because we think that there is something to do. That's the focus of our center of interest. I mean, it's very classical. I mean, about green clean tech and whatever technologies. Even with things about combustions in the fossil fuel plants or whatever, which could be very technical. For example, we are in discussion with a specialized nano steel company to understand what this type of materials can be of interest in the power plants. And we have now what is new since the last 6 months meeting is we have launched Electranova Capital. It's a venture capital fund which is operated by a GP, and we are an LP. That's simple. I mean, what is quite original is that the team have been constituted with 3 people coming from ID Invest, our partner, and 3 people coming from EDF. And it's a team. And they are working as a fund. But the decision-making is the decision-making process of coming from ID Invest, and it's independent from the decision-making process for investment of EDF, the big company. So it's not, and the aim of this project, of this partnership, is to learn how to manage, to decide, and to accompany startups' investments. And we are very proud of this way of doing. We think it's a very wise and reasonable thing. It already started with 2 investments. I will speak of it a bit after. What is a bit new also is we are organizing or sponsoring startup competition. The first historically was we sponsored Cleantech Open France. Cleantech Open is a concept that was developed in the United States on the West Coast, and that was re-engineered in France by a consultant company which is called Ecosummit, and they built an association, a non-profit association, which is called Cleantech Open France, which is organizing the competition. What is quite interesting is that it is a competition of competition. I mean, because there are 20 competitions for startups or more about clean tech in France, and what they do is they take the short list of each competition, and they make the startups compete together. And it's very interesting because the quality of the startup is quite high. And the winner of the Cleantech Open France is a company which is called SP3H, which is a company specialized of sensors for analyzing the fuel which enter in the combustion of the engines of motors for cars, for instance. And so it allows to adapt real-time the combustion parameter of the engine towards the parameters that are measured by the sensor. And this company finished second the worldwide competition in San Jose last week. So we are very proud of it. And we have launched another competition this year, which is called, sorry, it's in French, Concours Énergie Intelligente Lyon. It's done with our local partners in Lyon, the region, the mega city organization which is called the Grand Lyon, Crealis, which is an incubator, some governmental, some regional agencies for innovation and so on, and the local schools and OSEO. The principle of the competition is that there was a topic, and the startups answered on the topic, and what they win is to be accompanied on a subject they asked to be accompanied for by one or more of the partners. And the fact to be partnered with that is very interesting because there are things that EDF cannot bring which can be brought by the partner. And it's this way of doing is very comfortable for every partner because we don't feel an obligation. It really can be built on a partnership on a win-win basis between each partner and the startup. And the results is not finished because the big jury will be the 22 of November, next days, in the next coming weeks. And that's some of our success stories. Some of them I will not tell about, so there is more than on the slide. The two investments made by Electranova already are two companies. One is a Scandinavian company, is Seatower. It's a company which developed a special concept of design of foundation, of prefab foundations for offshore windmills, which is very interesting. And as EDF has project of windmills, of offshore windmills, it's a synergy between the investment made in the company by Electranova, and it could be also an opportunity of business development between the company and EDF. The other one is Actility, the French company, specialized on demand response and with quite sophisticated capacity of algorithm. The CTO of the company is really a brilliant brain and a really math brain with the capacity of development of algorithms which are quite sophisticated. But on the business development side, I mean with no investment, for example, we are discussing with Catalyzer, with a company working on catalyst for combustion of coal and fuel in the big heaters, and we are running tests with them on a test boiler, and we are waiting for the results of the test. But it's interesting. SAS.com is a company special for monitoring objects, devices like solar panels or little motors or whatever, spread on by the clients, and it's a platform which is interesting. And we had a partnership built between ECO12, which is an energy service company which is a subsidiary of Electricité de Strasbourg, which is one of our company of the group. And what is very impressive is that the developer of Electricité de Strasbourg, which is one of our company of the group, And what is very impressive is that they developed the partnership within 3 months after they meet for the first time, which is really impressive. Avob is a French company also. Sorry, I've made some French example. We have some things doing under cooking with German companies, but it's so too early to speak of. Avob is a French company with to optimize the use of energy in the buildings. And we are working with them for our next research center, which will be implemented in Saclay, which will be put in service during the year 2015. So it's the direct partnership between R&D and Avob to bring some more intelligence in the building. Global Vision System is very different. It's a company that worked with Airbus to represent the measures of sensors on a 3D structure. And for example, they made a study for our Department of Engineering for Hydraulics, and they made a demonstration of what could be done and what is the value for money for representing the measures on the structure of the dam. So it's very different things coming from different continents, and we try to be balanced on the continents and the countries, but we found what we found. We find what we find.